Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Uncle Mad here. A little bit of a surprise tonight. We're going with a Sunday night live stream. Voice doesn't want to work really well tonight. I don't know. Now, hang on a second. All right. Okay, we're going to power through this. All right, so if you follow the channel, you probably were expecting there to be a game day vlog from last night's game between Nashville SC and the Red Bull New York. I goofed up. So I got contacted by a referee assigner who had a state sectional game in the high school playoffs for girls soccer here in Tennessee. He was like, hey, I got a game. Pretty good team, pretty good matchup. Would you like to take the game Saturday, 4 o'clock? I was like, yeah, sure. National SC game, 7:30. It'll be a little tight, but shouldn't be a problem. I like reffing. It'll be a fun game to go do. Turns out, I just assumed Nashville SC played at 7:30 because that's been the kickoff time of like every single match the entire season, pretty much. But decision day, I guess everything was a little bit mixed up because they wanted all the teams to be kind of playing around the same time. So Nashville SC game actually kicked off at 5 o'clock. So I screwed up and had to miss the Nashville SC game. So no game day vlog from there. So decided to do a live stream in place of it instead, since we didn't do a live stream on Friday, just to kind of update everybody on what had happened, what's going on. I don't know if this was a good idea because obviously my voice is shot from, I don't know, I think it's been just a whirlwind week between being in London, trying to come back, trying to get back into the swing of things. But match last night, I watched it when I got home. It's kind of funny. Like we had the 2 penalty shouts, and on the second one, when we didn't get the penalty call on the handball, I was like, I have a feeling Red Bull's going to win this game on a penalty somehow. Handball, you know, that's always going to be a wonky one. But the first one, the foul on Wheel by the Red Bull goalkeeper, I don't know how between the referee and VAR that doesn't become a penalty kick for Nashville. That one made no sense to me at all. Especially because the penalty to Godoy later, the one that Red Bull got in the 9 minutes of the match, it was a penalty, but I mean, it was a lot softer of a penalty than the foul the keeper committed on Moyle. So I don't know. That's one where I'd love to be able to hear the communication that's going on between the VAR and between the official on the field to hear what the discussion is, hear what the determination is, hear what they're seeing when they're looking at that. Because I mean, every replay I looked at, both of them looked to me like both the ones that Nashville had a shout for should have been a penalty. The one, I was talking to some friends tonight, went out to dinner a little bit earlier, and I was telling them, I was like, the one on the handball, I think there was a little bit of sleight of hand, a little bit of a trick pulled by the, whether intentional or not, by the Red Bull defender. Because initially when he's jumping into play, he comes in wide, arms spread wide like a bird, like fully, like the ball hits his hand right now, 100% clear handball. But then the ball kind of bounces around, doesn't kind of come right to him. He puts his arm back down by his side. He's like, okay, now back to natural position. And then he goes here. And here's where the ball strikes him for the handball. So I think the act of like making himself look so big and then shrinking down, but then kind of getting big again was almost like deceiving. Like, oh, well, no, look how big he was there. And the next position is definitely more of a natural position, but I feel like I've seen that handball given 100 times before, but also not given 100 times before. So this is the thing. I think I've talked about this on the channel before. The 2 laws of the game that I would rewrite, that I would make adjustments to, that I think could be improved dramatically with some simple, easy fixes: offside, handball. As a referee, they're 2 of the hardest things to call because they get rewritten every year. And FIFA, IFAB also doesn't want to act like there's no interpretation. They want to act like everything's cut and dry, clear cut. Either this is a handball or it's not a handball. There's no interpretation in their eyes, but clearly there has to be an interpretation because you have to decide, was it a deliberate action? Was the body, you have to determine, was the body in a natural position or not? To me, one thing that would solve that is if they just like let the referees have a little bit more leeway with interpretation and somehow, some way put into the laws of the game. Is it an intentional handball? Yes, then it's an offense. Is it unintentional? Yes. Did the watching Dolphins Phillies, the Dolphins just picked off a pass and ran it back for a touchdown to tie the game. And I had a prop on Jalen Hurts interception, so cash it. But you add, okay, so unintentional handball, but did the player who committed the handball offense, did his team gain an advantage from the handball. So if your arms are at your side, player goes to hit a long ball to hit your hand. You're in natural position, but you block the long ball. Should be a handball offense, in my opinion. It's like same thing, like shot on goal. If your hands are in natural position, ball hits you and it's a shot on goal, should be a handball. So adding that little wrinkle of did they gain an advantage or was there an unfair result for the team that was offended upon that? And I think the offside's the same way. It's like those computerized lines we were getting in the World Cup this summer where it was like showing that like a player was off by like a knuckle. It's like, did they gain an advantage by having like a knuckle offside? No. Like that's why I'm kind of excited to see what comes of like the what they're testing, I think in Italy, where like the player has to be fully clear of a defender. There has to be like space between the defender and the attacker for it to be offside. That'll be a tough one for referees to call. Like I'm sure at the high levels with VAR and stuff like that, they'll be able to work it out. But like for us, like lower level referees, that's going to make refereeing offsides because like, nobody's ever seen those ones like with us where like if a knee's offside or something like that. But like if we're having to decide was the full body offside or not, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be challenging. But that's why I'd add in the terminology some form of did the player gain an advantage by being in an offside position? Did the player gain an advantage by the ball striking their hand? And if so, it should be an offense. Just my 2 cents there. Is it a little fishy that we got no penalty shouts when there's pretty clearly 2 penalties for us, and New York got a pretty soft one late to extend their playoff streak and ensure that a New York market team got into the playoffs for the MLS? I don't know. Who's to say? Not my place to say, but it was a little fishy. So I will say it was a little fishy. But that's it for the season. That it's kind of hard to fully assess Nashville SC yet because the puzzle's not complete. We still got the playoffs to go. I think it seems like the consensus from a lot of the fan base, a lot of people who cover the team, is that it has been a disappointing season because 7th is probably almost definitely a lot lower than most people would have expected Nashville SC to finish based on what we've built going forward. But, we showed in League's Cup we're the type of team that in a knockout tournament can put things together, can advance, can roll through. So, if the matchups fall right, if things go well in the playoffs, we've got a good chance. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to do now. God. Let's look at the playoffs. All right, here we go. All right, so let's go. We'll go West Coast first since that's opposite us. We've got play-in game. SC Kansas City take on the Quakes. Who knows? Quakes. I'll go Quakes there. They take on St. Louis City. St. Louis probably beats whoever comes through there. Real Salt Lake and Houston. Houston's been playing really well lately. We just won the U.S. Open Cup a couple months back. I think they go through over Real Salt Lake. Vancouver, LAFC. LAFC kind of has been limping along. Like, weird season for them. I think a lot of people just thought they'd find their form eventually, that their early season struggles were more connected to them having to play CONCACAF Champions League. But they haven't been as good this year as they were last year. A little bit of a hangover after winning the MLS Cup last year. Although I'm going to mispronounce his name, but Bonunga has been on fire scoring goals for them, at least in that regard. So I'd say they go through Seattle, Dallas. Seattle looks like they're rounding into form, and like a lot of people are starting to jump on the Seattle wagon. And I've seen a lot of people that are picking them to win it all. I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but definitely would see them going through there. That would put them against LA in the next round. That would be a really, really interesting matchup. I know the first round's best of 3. I don't think it's best of 3 beyond that. I think it's just one-on-one knockout after that, which is so stupid. The first round being best of 3, clearly it's 100% a money grab. It's so freaking dumb. Like, this is the crappy thing about it. I'm going to miss basically the entire first round of the playoffs for Nashville SC because we got our first game October 30th at Orlando. That night, I've got a work thing going on, so I won't be able to watch the game live. I'll have to watch it whenever I get home from the work thing. The home game of the series for Nashville SC is November 7th, Tuesday. I'll be in the Dominican Republic with my lovely wife on a beautiful vacation to the Bahia Principal Results. I'm trying to speak in a funny language. We're going to Dominican Republic for one of our famous all-inclusive vacations. Videos to come from that. So I'll miss the home game for Nashville SC. So I've probably been in my last match at Geodes Park this season because of that. And then we have, if there is a third leg, it'll be the 12th of November, which I believe is the day we fly back from Dominican Republic. So whatever. Seattle, LA. I don't know. Everybody likes Seattle right now, but LA is kind of the proven person to me, so I'd probably go LA. St. Louis, I think they got a little bit of that Austin in them where they're a little bit flashy, a little bit flash in the pan, maybe not as much substance behind it, but they could shock everybody. But I think Houston takes care of St. Louis. So Western Conference Finals, you got Seattle. No, who did I say? No, I said LA. So you got LA, Houston. I'm a little bit chalky. I'll pick the champions so somebody beats them unless I think there's a clear-cut case that they're going to get beat. So I got LA going back to the MLS Cup final again. Eastern Conference, Red Bull, Charlotte. Here's who really got screwed over by the Red Bull Nashville game. It was Montreal. Montreal was in the playoffs, and because of the shenanigans, the weird no penalties for Nashville SC, but then just a weird soft one late for New York Red Bull that gets them in the playoffs, Montreal got bumped out of the playoffs. So they're the ones who really got screwed here. Charlotte somehow snuck in. I thought Charlotte was like one of the worst teams in the league. That's what's kind of more dumb about the playoff format. 9 teams get in because you got to play a game. Then you got the next round is best of 3. This is just such a money grab to get extra games, and it's so stupid. 9 out of what, like 15 teams make the playoffs in each conference? So stupid. Like, I don't even think maybe top 8. Maybe top 8's enough. Maybe top 6 even, which would put Nashville out, but I don't know. Red Bull, I'm sure they'll beat Charlotte. They'll play Cincinnati. They'll lose to Cincinnati. Philadelphia, New England. New England's got all their stuff going on. Philadelphia, I kind of think is really, really good, as they usually are. They're going to be weird, though, this playoffs, because they've got a lot of off-the-field stuff starting to pop up. We've got it's been reported for a while now that Kai Wagner, their star left back, is going to be likely departing the club this offseason due to cost-cutting, money-saving, not willing to pay him the contract he's deserving of. Their captain and longtime player, former U.S. men's national team player, Alejandro Bedoya, is also going to be leaving the club, not going to be offered a new contract this offseason, which some players actually posted some stuff on social media being upset about that. So some interesting kind of off-the-field stuff going on there. But, I mean, they've got Andre Blake, who's like one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the league. And if you can just play defense, stop teams from scoring, which is going to be Gary Smith's idea, you could probably go far in this tournament. So they should get by New England pretty easily, I would think. Columbus, Atlanta. Columbus has been quietly awesome this season. I'm honestly shocked that they stayed at third and never got past Orlando for second. So I'd pick them to go over Atlanta. Then you got us, Nashville SC, taking on Orlando, the 7 versus the 2. Weirdly, a lot of people were saying, and I get this, I get why they were saying this, was that obviously you'd want Nashville to finish higher in the table to have a better regular season, but of the first round matchups, Orlando might be who we match up best with in terms of head-to-head. We went down there. We beat them in April at their place. They came here and beat us in a weird wonky match just a couple weeks ago. So 1-1 on their season series. We've always played pretty well against them. I don't know. I haven't seen enough. The New England game 2 weeks ago was a step in the right direction, but then it felt like the Red Bull game was kind of a step back. So I don't know that I've seen enough to confidently pick us to get it. I mean, Gary's MO is this type of stuff, getting to knockout games where you don't necessarily have to score to win, grinding out games, stealing goals on the counterattack, going to penalties if you have to. That's Gary Smith's wheelhouse. So I like our chances, but kind of feels like we're a half-formed team. We haven't got Sam Sturridge all the way there. We keep having injuries in and out. Looks like Leal's out injured again. Zimmerman's been bouncing in and out of the lineup with some injuries, so it doesn't feel like we're our fully formed self. If we were full strength, hitting the ground running, I'd like our chances here, but I have a hard time seeing us winning 2 out of 3 against Orlando just based on the form, because we haven't, I don't know if we've put together 2 out of 3 wins, period, since May, which is weird because, go back to earlier in the season, we had a 10-game unbeaten streak. Then we went on a little skid before Leagues Cup. Then Leagues Cup was awesome. Then coming out of Leagues Cup, we went on another skid. Then we had another nice period. And it's just too much inconsistency to think that we can consistently put together a good 3-game stretch against Orlando. So sadly, I have to pick Orlando to go through. But then I'm going to have Columbus take out Orlando because I think Columbus is better than Orlando. Philadelphia, Cincy. Cincy's really good. We don't like Cincinnati down here in Nashville. We don't want them to be good, but they're really good. But I almost wonder if they're 1 year too early. You got to get that taste of being good Like you have your first good year. Like rarely does a team like break out and win the championship the first year they're really good. Like they have to kind of go through the learning curve of like actually being the good team, having the target on your back, and then like the second, third year of that window is where teams tend to take that leap. Like look, like LA is a good example. They were like talent wise, results wise, one of the best teams in the league for like the last 2 or 3 years, and it took them that long to finally win the MLS Cup last year. So the experience of Philadelphia, the kind of are they going to be playing for LA? Are they going to be playing for Kai? Are they going to say we got to win one for these guys before we break up the band? I like Philadelphia. I'm going to have Philadelphia to pull the upset in the second round over Cincinnati. So we've got Philadelphia, Columbus. Columbus is going to be tough, but I don't know. We're going to have a rematch. We're going to go MLS Cup Final 2.0. LA, Philly. Woo. LA, Philly 2. LA got the better of Philadelphia last year. I'm predicting Philadelphia to come back and get the revenge this year. Philadelphia to win the MLS Cup is my prediction for the 2023 Audi MLS Cup playoffs. Brought to you by Audi. Okay, I was going to talk about some more stuff on this. I was going to do a little bit of Titans talk, but we can save that for next Friday when we've got the Falcons game a little bit closer to talk about. Probably have a better idea of who's going to be playing in that game vis-a-vis quarterback by then anyway. But yeah, if you can hear, my voice is not doing too good. So I'm going to wrap it up a little bit earlier than I'd planned. But thanks for watching. If you've tuned in, if you're watching another replay, thanks also. I do want to say I got my To the Stars shirt on. I've been listening to Blink-182, the new record, one more time, nonstop since Friday. I've probably listened to it 50 times since then. So I'm going to do a full review on the channel when I can actually speak coherently and in a way that's, presentable. I just wanted to get on and do a live stream tonight since I didn't have a game day vlog to present from last night's game since I missed it. But thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me. Hope my voice didn't ruin your night, but we'll be better soon and we'll have more content coming on the channel. Subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications, and I'm just going to try something new. Hang on. One last sip. All right. More to come, and until then, enjoy your life.